Hey everyone, welcome back to Garage Darts. I'm Cali West, and today we are going to talk about cricket. No, not that cricket. The game of cricket. Oh, no, not that one either. This is going to be about the darts game of cricket. This is a game that is probably the most popular in America, and for good reason. It's a game that not only challenges your accuracy, but there's an element of strategy as well. Today we're going to go over the basics of the game, what numbers count, how to score your turn, and even a few basic strategies. It's a lot to cover, so let's get started. In the game of cricket, only 7 segments of the board are used. They are the 20s, 19s, 18s, 17s, 16s, 15s, and bullseye. If your dart hits a number other than these 7 targets, it doesn't count. In each of the numbered segments, your dart counts if it hits a single, a double, or a triple of that number. If it hits the bullseye, the outer bowl counts as 1 mark, the center bowl counts as 2. Let's take a look at what the cricket scoreboard looks like. As you can see, the cricket numbers are written down the center of the scoreboard. If a dart hits one of these numbers, you get a mark. For example, to record the score when someone has hit one single 20, it is marked as a diagonal slash, like this. For 2 darts in the 20, it would be scored as an X, 1 slash for each 20. For all 3 darts landing in one number, it would add a circle to the X for the 3rd dart hitting the 20. If you hit all 3 of a number in one turn, you can do a little shorthand here and just make a circle. A circle means that 3 of that number have been hit, with or without the X inside of it. Now in a traditional game of cricket, you can also score points. If you have a circle on a number that your opponent does not, you can score points for each additional dart that goes in that number. In this example, 3 darts went into the single 20 segment, each dart counting as 20 points. 20 times 3 equals 60, so you would write the total score for that turn, which is 60, on their side of the scoreboard. The winner is the player who gets 3 of each number first and has the most points. If no points are scored during the game, or the points are tied, then the player who gets 3 of each number first is the winner. Okay, so for the beginner, this may seem a little confusing at first glance, but I think if we go into it a little more in depth, it'll be easier to understand. To do this, we're going to watch a game to see it all in action. Now, a lot of how-to books and videos usually use player 1 and player 2 to show the progression of a game. I find that really hard to follow along, so to make it easier, let's give player 1 and player 2 a name and a face.
This is Jen, and this is Will. In order to determine who goes first, each player will take 1 dart and throw it at the bullseye. The player whose dart is closest to the center of the board will start the game. Jen's dart is closer than Will's, so she will go first. At the start of each game, it is customary to shake hands or fist bump as a show of good sportsmanship. Now we're ready to start. In cricket, you usually aim at the 20s first and work your way down the scoreboard. In Jen's first turn, she hits a 20, a 1, and an 18. To score this, you would put 1 mark in the 20, 1 mark in the 18. The dart that landed in the 1 doesn't count, so it's not recorded on the scoreboard. Her turn is complete, so she removes her darts from the board, and now it's Will's turn. Will hits 2 20s, and the other dart hits an 18. Every dart has hit a number that counts, so the 2 20s are scored like this, 1 mark for each single, and then a mark for the single 18. In Jen's next turn, she hits 2 20s and a 5. With 1 20 already scored, these 2 20s give her a circle on the 20s, and the 5 doesn't count. Seeing that Jen now has 3 20s, Will wants to close them to prevent Jen from scoring points on them in her next turn. And since he already has 2 marks on the 20s, it will only take 1 accurate dart to close it. He hits the 20 with his first dart. Now that both players have 3 20s, they are considered closed. Any dart that lands in the 20 for the rest of this game no longer counts. With his 2 remaining darts, he decides to go for 18s, since he already has 1 mark on the 18s. He hits a single and then a triple with his last dart. To score these 4 18s, he will first get a circle, which counts for 2 of the 4 18s he's hit, and then, since Jen has no circle on the 18s, they are open for Will to score on them, so the remaining 2 18s will count for points. With that turn, Jen now needs a number she can score points on to catch up to Will's 36 points. So she decides to try and get as many 19s as she can, since Will does not have any, and it's the largest number left to pick from on the board. She hits 2 singles and a triple, so the triple, which counts as 3, gives her the circle with the 1 dart, and the 2 remaining 19s count for points. Will is now 2 points behind in score, so he will go for 18s for more points. He hits 3 single 18s, which equals 54 points. The 54 points are added to the 36 he already has, which gives him a new total of 90 points. Now, if you are new to scoring cricket, it's okay to write the 54 below the 36 and add it up on the scoreboard like doing longhand addition.
Okay, all right, hold on. Before you get all like, yeah, I'm out of here. I like to play darts, but I'm not really into math. Hey, math is part of the game of darts. And you are, to some degree, going to have to learn a little bit of math. And really, obviously, it's more review than anything, right? So just don't freak out and don't let dart math intimidate you. I know it's kind of easy. You get a piece of chalk in your hand, you're at a chalkboard, and suddenly it's like you're back in school and you're trying to solve a math problem in front of the whole class. Yeah, that was frightening for all of us, trust me. But like I say, it will get easier. You just have to kind of work on your multiples, work on the math, and really, it'll all come back to you. So above all, do not let dart math intimidate you or stop you from playing this game.
Once you are more familiar with dart math, you can add this all in your head and go straight to the shorthand version of scoring cricket, which is just crossing out the previous number and writing the new total. Back to the game. Now that Jen is behind in points again, she needs to score more 19s. She hits a triple with her first dart, which gives her the points lead back. With 2 darts left in her hand and 1 mark already on the 18s, she wants to go for the close to prevent Will from scoring more points on 18s. She succeeds in hitting 2 single 18s and closes his number. Now, just like the 20s in this game, the 18s no longer count since both players have a circle, or 3 of that number. Since Will is now behind on points, the only way to catch up is to open a new number. He goes for the next highest number on his side, the 17s, since he can't get points on the 19s. Jen already has those. He hits 3, which is solid, but it's not enough to score points. With a slim 5-point lead, Jen has 2 options here. She could go to 19s to further increase her points lead, or close the 17s so Will can't score on them. She decides to play a little defense and shoots for 17s. All 3 darts hit a single 17, so now Will has to, once again, open a new number to get points. He now aims for 16s. He hits 2 16s and then a 7. Not what he was hoping for. On Jen's turn, she goes for 16s since Will just has the 2. She hits a triple with her first dart. With 2 darts left to throw, she goes for 15s and hits that triple too. With her last dart, she goes for the bullseye, but misses into a single 2. Things are not looking good for Will. As he takes a long look at the scoreboard, he sees that not only is he behind on points, but he is also behind on numbers, with Jen having the 19, 16, and 15 segments open on her side. The only segment left that Jen does not already have 3 of is the bullseye. At this stage of the game, it is his only option. He dials in his focus and hits a double bull, a single bull, and outside the bull, but it's a good miss as it lands in the 16, a number he needed 1 more of. Overall, a pretty good turn under the circumstances. With 3 bulls, Jen can win this game. Her first dart lands in the single bull. The second dart lands in the 2 just outside the bull. She aims her last dart at the double bull for the win, but it drops below the bull and into the 19, which at least gives her another 19 points and now a 24-point lead. As Will studies the scoreboard, he realizes that with 3 perfect darts, he can still win this game. It will be a tough shot though. He would need a single bull, which would give him 25 points, and put him back in the lead by 1 point, but then would also need to hit a triple 19 and a triple 15. A tall order for anyone. He takes his shot at the bull and hits it. He's feeling pretty confident and wants to take his chance for the win. He goes for the triple 19 and hits that too. With a deep breath, he tries for game shot on the triple 15, but misses, just hitting 1. Jen now realizes just how close she is to losing a game she felt she was in control of up until that last shot.
Now, this is where some people would argue that Jen took the wrong shot on her last turn. This is where a bit of the strategy comes into play. So let's take a closer look at that.
If she had thrown all 3 darts for score and hit 3 19s for 57 points, her score would be 152. Then it would be impossible for Will to win the game in his next turn, because he would need 3 bulls to get ahead in score, which will take at least 2 darts, and then 2 triples for the win, which would be 2 more perfectly thrown darts. Since you only get 3 darts per turn, it would be impossible for him to accomplish this with 1 turn. Jen now needs a single 15 to regain the points lead, and then 2 bulls. Her first dart hits the 15, and her second dart hits the double bull. The game is over and Jen has won, so she does not need to throw the last dart in her hand. Again, as a sign of good sportsmanship, the players shake hands and even discuss how close this game was, with Will hitting such a great shot near the end.
Wow, that was an intense game that Jen and Will just played. I realize it was a lot to take in if you're new to darts, and cricket can be, a little confusing at first. But, watch the video a few more times. Obviously you'll probably catch something that you maybe missed the first time through. And, once you're familiar with the basics and you got that down, I think the best teacher is repetition. Play more cricket. Now, in the game that you just watched, I wanted to show you a few different scenarios and strategies. But the most important thing to remember about strategy is it has to be based on your current ability. You can't approach a game thinking you're just going to hit all these triples and crush your opponent if you've only been playing a few months, right? So just be realistic. Weigh the odds, and it may help you decide your shot selection, again, based on what you normally would hit in a game. Even though you should base your shot selection on your current ability, I don't want you to think you can't take that big shot at the end of the game like Will did. Just be aware of how risky it is. Think about a few things. What stage of the game you're in, how well your opponent is throwing, and most importantly, how well you're throwing. Cricket is a real game of ebb and flow, as we saw in the game that was played there. It can change in an instant, and you just got to pay attention to that ebb and flow to know what shot to take. So if you're new to darts, cricket is a really fun way to learn or memorize your triple segments and work on your dart math. If you find yourself intimidated by it, just make yourself a little chart, like a cheat sheet, multiplication table, or more visually with like the triple totals right on the pick of a dartboard, so you can learn them faster. I think you'd be surprised how quickly you will remember these numbers, once you play a few games. And once you're comfortable with that, you can work on what a 5 mark is or a 7 mark.
A 5 mark is a term used in the game of cricket to describe how many marks you hit during your turn. So a 5 mark would be a triple, which counts as 3, and 2 singles, which equal 5, a 5 mark. A 7 mark is when you hit 2 triples and a single. And a 9 mark is when you hit all 3 darts in the triple ring.
Cricket is also a fun way to work on your grouping of your darts. One thing for sure, even though this game is the cricket game is a great introduction for the new player, it's also a favorite of every advanced player I know. No matter how long you've been playing the game, it's one of these games that you're constantly learning new strategies depending on game situations that arise, and there's a million of them. So it's really definitely one of my favorites. Until next time, work on your triple segments, memorizing the numbers, work on your grouping, and work on your dart math. because we're going to need it on the next game that we're going to learn how to play, 501. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like it, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching.